There are moments in life when hidden truths rise to the surface and challenge everything we thought we knew about the unseen world. Today, we confront a revelation that is both unsettling and empowering, a testimony from someone who once walked in darkness but has chosen the light. This is not just a story of fear, but a message of protection, authority, and spiritual awareness. What if the very forces that people fear could be resisted through simple acts of faith and intention? What if protection was closer than we imagined? This speech explores a bold claim that certain spiritual practices can create a barrier against harm, inviting us to reflect deeply on belief, power, and the unseen battles around us. There is something undeniably powerful about a life that has been turned around, a voice that once echoed in darkness, now speaking with clarity and conviction. When someone who once participated in hidden practices steps forward to reveal what they have seen, it demands attention. It is not just information. It is lived experience, shaped by choices, consequences, and ultimately transformation. This kind of testimony carries a weight that theory alone can never hold. It tells us that no matter how deep someone has gone into fear or confusion, there is always a way back into truth. And that return journey itself becomes a message of hope for others who may feel vulnerable or uncertain. It reminds us that awareness is the first step toward protection and strength. Think about the courage it takes to leave behind a past that once defined you and to speak openly about it. That courage becomes a shield not only for the one who speaks, but also for those who listen. When an individual exposes what was once hidden, they are breaking the silence that often gives fear its power. They are saying that darkness thrives where there is ignorance, but it loses its grip when brought into the light. This transformation is not just personal, it becomes a warning and a guide. It tells us that knowledge can empower us to stand firm and refuse to be controlled by fear. And it encourages us to seek understanding rather than remain passive in the face of the unknown. What makes this transformation even more meaningful is the shift in purpose that follows. A person who once contributed to fear now dedicates themselves to protection and awareness. That change reveals something profound about human strength and the ability to redefine one's path. It shows that our past does not have to dictate our future, and that even the most unlikely voices can become sources of guidance. This journey from darkness to light becomes a living testimony that protection is not reserved for a few, but available to anyone willing to embrace it. It calls on us to reflect on our own lives and consider where we may need to grow in awareness and intention, and it challenges us to take our own steps towards strength and clarity. So as we listen to such a testimony, we are not just hearing a story, we are receiving an invitation to become more aware, more intentional, and more grounded in what protects and strengthens us. We are reminded that fear does not have to dominate our lives, and that we have the ability to stand firm in the face of it. Let this message inspire you to seek truth, to embrace transformation, and to walk forward with confidence. Let it remind you that even the deepest darkness cannot stand against a life committed to light. And let it push you to take action in your own life, to claim your sense of protection and purpose, because true strength begins when you choose to rise and stand in what you believe. There is a reason why simple acts often carry the deepest meaning, and anointing is one of those acts that transcends time, culture, and belief. When a person takes olive oil and places it upon the body with intention, it is more than a physical gesture, it becomes a declaration. It says that you are not passive, that you are choosing to stand in protection and awareness. This act connects the physical and the spiritual in a way that is deeply personal and powerful. It reminds us that what we do with purpose can shape how we feel and how we respond to fear, and in that moment something shifts within, a sense of calm, a sense of readiness, a sense of control. It becomes a symbol of stepping into strength rather than shrinking back in uncertainty. Olive oil itself has long been associated with blessing, healing, and sacred use, and its symbolism adds depth to the act. When applied with belief, it becomes a reminder that protection is not always complicated or distant. Sometimes it is found in simple, intentional actions that ground us and center our thoughts. This is not about superstition. It is about the power of focus and meaning. When the mind and heart align with a purposeful act, it creates a sense of assurance that can be deeply comforting. That comfort is not weakness. It is a form of strength that allows a person to move forward without being overwhelmed. And in that space, fear begins to lose its hold, replaced by clarity and confidence. As we reflect on this practice, we begin to see that the true power lies not only in the oil, but in the intention behind it. It is about claiming a space of safety, both within and around us. It is about reminding ourselves that we have the ability to take action, even in situations that feel uncertain. This act becomes a ritual of empowerment, a way of reinforcing belief in protection and resilience. It invites us to be active participants in our own sense of security, rather than waiting for fear to pass. And through repetition and belief, it strengthens the mindset that we are not defenseless, but capable and aware. This mindset alone can transform how we face challenges and unseen fears. So when you consider this act, see it not just as a tradition, but as a statement of strength and intention. Let it remind you that protection can begin with something as simple as a conscious choice. Let it ground you in the understanding that you are not powerless, and that your actions can reflect your belief in safety and resilience. Carry this awareness into your daily life, allowing it to shape how you respond to fear and uncertainty. Stand firm in the knowledge that intention has power, and that even small acts can create meaningful change within you. And as you move forward, let this practice be a reflection of your confidence and your commitment to inner strength. Because true protection begins with the belief that you are already stronger than what you fear. There is a powerful shift that takes place when a person begins to feel protected, when fear no longer sits at the center of their thoughts and decisions. The mind is no longer trapped in cycles of worry, and the heart is no longer weighed down by constant uncertainty. Instead, there is a growing sense of control, a quiet confidence that begins to shape how one sees the world. This feeling does not come from denying challenges, but from believing that you are not helpless in the face of them. When you adopt practices that reinforce protection, whether symbolic or spiritual, you begin to rewrite the narrative within yourself. You move from reacting in fear to standing in awareness and strength, and that internal shift can change everything about how you experience life. Confidence built on a sense of protection, has a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. When you believe that you are guarded and supported, your actions become more intentional and less driven by anxiety. You begin to make decisions with clarity instead of hesitation, and you carry yourself with a presence that reflects inner stability. This does not mean that challenges disappear, but it means that they no longer define you. Your mindset becomes your shield, shaping how you respond, rather than allowing circumstances to control you. In this way, empowerment becomes both psychological and deeply personal. It is a reminder that strength is not always about physical force, but about the beliefs that guide your thoughts and actions each day. There is also a deeper layer to this empowerment, one that connects belief with resilience. When you consistently remind yourself that you are protected, you build mental endurance against fear and doubt. This repetition strengthens your ability to remain calm even when situations feel uncertain. It trains your mind to focus on what is within your control rather than what is unknown or unseen. Over time, this creates a foundation of inner stability that cannot easily be shaken. You begin to trust yourself more, to stand firmer in your decisions, and to move forward with purpose. This resilience becomes a quiet strength that supports you in moments when you might otherwise feel overwhelmed. So, as you embrace practices that reinforce protection, remember that their greatest power lies in how they shape your mindset. Let them remind you that you are capable of standing strong, even when fear tries to take hold. Allow that sense of confidence to guide your actions and influence how you carry yourself each day. Do not underestimate the impact of feeling secure within your own mind and spirit, because when you believe in your own resilience, you create a shield that is not easily broken. And as that belief grows, so does your ability to face life with courage and clarity. Stand firm in that truth and let your confidence become your greatest protection. As we come to the end of this message, we are reminded that true power is not found in fear, but in awareness, intention, and the courage to stand firm. The journey from darkness to light shows us that transformation is possible, and that knowledge can become a source of protection rather than anxiety. Simple acts carried out with belief can ground us, strengthen us, and remind us that we are not helpless. When the mind is anchored in confidence and the heart is steady in purpose, fear begins to lose its influence. You are not defined by what you fear, but by how you choose to respond to it. Walk forward with clarity, stand in your strength, and let your belief in protection guide every step you take.